BME24 software developer, living alone in decent apartment. Been hearing weird noises in my walls for weeks now, scratching and movement sounds. Assume it's mice or some other rodent situation that I need to deal with. Landlord keeps saying he'll send an exterminator, but never follows through. Noises get progressively louder and more frequent, especially at night. Start losing sleep because it sounds like something large moving around in there. Decide to investigate myself because I'm tired of waiting for professional help. Notice that some of my food has been disappearing from the kitchen. Initially blame myself for forgetting what I ate, but the pattern becomes obvious. Entire loaves of bread vanish overnight, cans of soup go missing. Check all the windows and doors, but everything is still locked tight. Start thinking maybe I have a serious rodent problem or possibly a break-in issue. Set up my old webcam to monitor the kitchen while I'm at work. Come home and check the footage. Nearly shit myself at what I see. There's a girl, probably early 20s, crawling out of my kitchen wall. She's thin, pale, wearing dirty clothes that look like they haven't been washed in months. Watches her systematically raid my refrigerator and pantry, like she owns the place. Takes inventory of everything, seems to know exactly what I have and where I keep it. Most disturbing part is how comfortable she looks, like this is routine for her. Spends 20 minutes eating my food and then disappears back into the wall. Sit there staring at the screen trying to process what I just witnessed. Debate calling the police but realize how insane this story sounds. Officer, there's a girl living in my walls and stealing my groceries. They'd probably think I'm having some kind of mental breakdown. Decide to confront her myself the next time she emerges. Stay up all night waiting with a flashlight and my phone ready to record. Around 3 a.m., I hear the familiar scratching sounds coming from the kitchen. Sneak over quietly and hide behind the counter, waiting for her to appear. Wall panel slides open and out crawls this absolutely feral-looking girl. She's even more disturbing in person. Moves like some kind of urban cryptid. Hair is matted and greasy, fingernails are long and dirty from crawling through walls, wearing what used to be a white t-shirt that's now gray with grime. She opens my refrigerator and starts eating leftover pizza with her bare hands, jump out from behind the counter and turn on the lights. "What the hell are you doing in my apartment?" I shout. She freezes like a deer in headlights, piece of pizza still hanging from her mouth. We stare at each other for what feels like an eternity. She looks terrified but also weirdly defiant. Like I'm the one intruding. "This is my home too," she says in a scratchy voice that sounds unused to speaking. "Your home? You're living in my walls without permission." She shrugs and continues eating my pizza. "Technically, I'm between the walls, not in them." "That's not better," I tell her. "That's actually worse somehow." Ask how long she's been living there and she has to think about it. Few months maybe? Time gets weird when you don't see sunlight much. Explains that she found the building plans online and identified weak spots in the wall structure. Apparently there's enough space between walls to create a livable area if you're small enough. "Livable is generous," I say. "You look like you haven't showered in weeks." She gets defensive. "There's a water pipe I can access, and I wash when necessary." Necessary being never, apparently. She ignores the insult and asks if I have any more of that pizza. The audacity is absolutely staggering. She's asking for more food after I caught her stealing. "No, you can't have more pizza. You need to leave my apartment immediately." She looks genuinely confused by this request. Where am I supposed to go? I don't have anywhere else. Ask why she doesn't just get her own place like a normal person. "Rent is expensive and jobs require social interaction," she explains. "I'm not good with people and I don't have any marketable skills. So you decided to become a wall parasite instead?" She nods like this was the logical conclusion to her life problems. Realize I'm dealing with someone who's completely disconnected from the social norms. You can't just live in other people's walls without asking. Why not? You weren't using that space anyway. Her logic is so twisted it's almost impressive in its complete wrongness. Explain that it's called breaking and entering, trespassing, theft. But I'm not breaking anything and I always put the wall panel back. And I only take food you're not actively eating. That's still theft, I tell her. You're stealing my groceries. She considers this for a moment. What if I pay you back somehow? Ask what she could possibly offer in exchange for room and board. I could do chores or something, clean the apartment while you're at work. Look around and realize my place is actually cleaner than usual. Have you been cleaning my apartment? She nods proudly. I get bored during the day, so I organize things. Also, I fixed your Wi-Fi. The password was terrible for security. Check my laptop, and sure enough, the Wi-Fi password has been changed. You hacked my internet? Hacked is strong. I just optimized your network settings. And maybe downloaded some anime while you were sleeping. The situation keeps getting more bizarre by the minute. Sit down at my kitchen table and try to process what's happening. So let me get this straight. You've been living in my walls, stealing my food, using my internet, and cleaning my apartment. When you put it like that, it sounds bad, she admits. It is bad. It's completely insane. She sits down across from me uninvited. But is it really hurting anyone? You're not paying rent, you're eating my food, you're violating my privacy. But your apartment is cleaner and your internet is faster now. Cannot argue with the internet thing. My connection has been noticeably better. That doesn't make this okay, I tell her. You can't just move in without asking. She looks down at the table. I know it's weird, but I didn't have other options. Ask about her family or friends who might help her. Don't really have family, and I've never been good at making friends. People think I'm weird and I make them uncomfortable. Looking at her current state, I can understand why people might be put off. When's the last time you had a real conversation with another person? She has to think about it. Probably 6 months ago when I ordered food delivery. And before that, maybe a year. I'm not good at the whole social interaction thing. Realize I'm talking to someone who's basically a hermit living in urban infrastructure. What did you do before you started living in walls? Lived with my parents until they got tired of supporting a NEET daughter. They gave me money for first month's rent somewhere and told me to figure it out. But apartments require applications and references and talking to landlords. So I spent the money on supplies and found this place instead. Her survival strategy is completely unhinged, but somehow functional. You've been living like this for months and nobody noticed? I'm very quiet during the day and only come out when you're sleeping or at work. Also, I researched your schedule online before I moved in. You researched my schedule? How? Social media, work website, delivery tracking. It's not hard to figure out patterns. The level of premeditation is actually terrifying. So you stalked me before deciding to live in my walls? Stalked is harsh. I prefer strategic reconnaissance. You seemed like a safe target, quiet, predictable, probably wouldn't notice small changes. Cannot decide if I should be offended or impressed by her analysis. What if I had noticed earlier and called the police? I had backup plans, other buildings with similar wall configurations. She's put more thought into this than most people put into career planning. This is not a sustainable lifestyle, I tell her. Winter's coming and those walls aren't insulated. You'll freeze. She looks worried about this for the first time. I was hoping to find a warmer spot before then. Or maybe save enough money to get a real place. How are you planning to make money while living in walls? Online surveys, cryptocurrency trading, janitor on 4chan, maybe start a YouTube channel. Her understanding of income generation is about as realistic as her housing situation. We sit in silence for a few minutes while I try to figure out what to do. Calling the police feels unnecessarily harsh for someone who's clearly just desperate, but I can't let her continue living in my walls like some kind of urban goblin. Look, I finally say, this situation is completely insane and has to stop. But you seem harmless and you're obviously struggling. What if we work out some kind of temporary arrangement? Her eyes light up like I just offered her a winning lottery ticket. You mean I could stay here legitimately? Temporarily, I emphasize, like a few weeks while you figure out real housing. But you'd have to follow rules and contribute somehow. She nods eagerly. Yes, absolutely, whatever you want. First rule, no more living in the walls. You sleep on the couch like a normal person. Second, you have to shower regularly and wear clean clothes. Third, no more stealing food. We'll work out meal arrangements. And fourth, you have to start looking for real housing and maybe a job. She agrees to everything immediately, probably afraid I'll change my mind. This is just temporary, I repeat. I'm not adopting a wall person permanently. Spend the next hour helping her extract her belongings from the wall space. She's created an elaborate nest in there with stolen blankets and pillows. Has a collection of snacks she's hoarded and several electronic devices. Where did you get all this stuff? Amazon deliveries sometimes get left in accessible places, and people throw away perfectly good electronics all the time. Her entire lifestyle is based on scavenging and theft. Help her set up a sleeping area on my couch with actual clean bedding. She looks around the living room like she's seeing it for the first time. It's weird being in the open space instead of hiding, but also kind of nice to not have to crawl everywhere. Make her take a shower while I wash her clothes. She emerges looking almost human after scrubbing off months of grime. Turns out she's actually pretty cute under all the dirt and neglect. still pale and thin from poor nutrition, but not the feral creature I initially encountered. Order pizza for dinner and watch her eat like she hasn't seen real food in years. This is better than the stuff I was stealing from your fridge, she admits. Spend the evening helping her set up basic accounts for job searching. Her computer skills are actually impressive despite her complete social dysfunction. Maybe you could do freelance programming or web design, I suggest. People don't have to see you in person for remote work. She seems excited about the possibility of legitimate income. We're sitting on the couch and she suddenly gets quiet and nervous. There's something else I need to tell you, she says, fidgeting with her hands. I've been really lonely living like this for months. Not just lonely for conversation, but like really lonely. Realize where this conversation is heading and feel my stomach drop. I know this is weird, but I was wondering if maybe you'd consider being my boyfriend. Nearly choke on my drink. Your boyfriend? We just met tonight. Technically, we've been living together for months, she points out. That doesn't count. You were a wall parasite. She looks hurt by that description. I prefer urban hermit. Look, I know it's fast, but I'll do everything for you if you say yes. Everything? I ask, probably already knowing what she means. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, whatever you want. And I mean everything, like girlfriend stuff. Her face turns red, but she maintains eye contact. Regular cuddles, back rubs, and, intimate snuggles. I've been watching your browser history, so I know what you're into. The fact that she's been monitoring my internet activity should be a red flag. But the offer is tempting considering how long it's been since I had a girlfriend. You've been spying on my browsing habits? Not spying, just optimizing your digital security and happen to notice patterns. That's definitely spying. She ignores the accusation. So what do you think about my proposal? You want me to be your boyfriend in exchange for housework and snuggles? When you put it like that, it sounds transactional. Because it is transactional, you're literally offering services in exchange for a relationship. She considers this. Is that necessarily bad, though? Most relationships involve people contributing different things. I contribute domestic labor and physical affection. You contribute shelter and food. Her logic is weirdly sound, even though the whole situation is insane. What about actual compatibility, shared interests, emotional connection? We both like anime and we're having good conversations. Plus, I already know your habits and preferences from months of observation. That's not romantic, that's surveillance. She shrugs. Potato, potato. Sit there considering her offer while she watches me hopefully. Realize I haven't had physical affection in over a year, and she's actually pretty cute now that she's clean. Plus, she's clearly devoted considering she chose to live in my walls. This is completely insane, I tell her. But hypothetically, if I said yes, what would that look like? Her face lights up. Really? You're considering it? I'm considering it. She starts talking rapidly. I'd take care of everything around the apartment. Cook all your meals, keep everything spotless. Do your laundry. And we could watch movies together and cuddle on the couch. And I'd make sure you're completely satisfied with snuggles and affection. I've done a lot of research online about what guys like. The enthusiasm is both endearing and slightly terrifying. Research? Educational videos, forums, instruction guides. I want to make sure I'm good at girlfriend duties. Cannot believe I'm having this conversation with someone I found living in my walls. What about you, though? What do you get out of this besides housing? She looks confused by the question. Companionship? Affection? Someone who cares about me? I've been alone for so long. Having someone to talk to and touch would be amazing. Realize she's probably more desperate for human connection than even physical needs. And you're sure about the whole arrangement? No regrets or weirdness later? Positive, she says immediately. I've thought about this every day for months. Watching you live your life and wishing I could be part of it instead of hiding. The honesty is actually touching in a deeply disturbed way. Okay, I say before I can overthink it. We can try this. But with conditions, she nods eagerly. Anything. First, you have to keep yourself clean, like actually clean. Second, no more monitoring my internet activity without asking. Third, we take things slow and see how it goes. And fourth, you still need to work on getting your life together long term. She agrees to everything and immediately moves closer on the couch. Can we start with cuddling now? She asks. You said take it slow. Cuddling is slow, she points out. Let her curl up against me and realize how touch-starved we both are. She's warm and soft and smells like my shampoo from her shower. This is nice, she murmurs against my chest. Better than watching you from inside the walls. You watch me from the walls? sometimes through the little gaps. That's incredibly creepy, but also how I knew you were a good person. You never brought home random girls or threw loud parties. You were always quiet and respectful, even when you thought you were alone. Fall asleep on the couch with her wrapped around me like a human blanket. Wake up the next morning to the smell of breakfast cooking. She's already up, making eggs and coffee, wearing one of my oversized shirts. "Good morning, boyfriend," she says cheerfully. The domesticity is surreal, but also surprisingly pleasant. "Morning," I say, still adjusting to this new reality. She serves me breakfast and sits close while we eat. "So what's the plan for today?" she asks. "Well, you need actual clothes that fit, and maybe we should establish some ground rules for this arrangement." She nods seriously. "Whatever you think is best. I trust your judgment about normal relationship stuff. Realize I'm now responsible for teaching a wall person how to be a girlfriend. My face. When I accidentally got the most devoted girlfriend ever through home invasion, that feel when your relationship origin story is completely unrepeatable, still not sure if this is the best or worst decision I've ever made. BME 21, college senior, trying to navigate the hellscape of modern dating. Match with this girl on Tinder named Riley, who looks absolutely stunning in her photos. We chat for a few days and she seems cool, mentions she's an entrepreneur and business major, suggests meeting up for coffee and she agrees, says she knows the perfect place. Show up to the coffee shop 15 minutes early because I'm neurotic about being late. She walks in exactly on time wearing a business blazer and carrying a leather portfolio. Immediately pulls out her phone and starts taking photos of herself with the coffee shop aesthetic. "Sorry," she says, "just updating my LinkedIn story about networking and morning productivity." Sit down and try to start a normal conversation about school and hobbies. She interrupts me mid-sentence to answer a phone call about some crypto investment. "Yeah, I'm diversifying my portfolio across multiple blockchains," she says loudly into the phone. Everyone in the coffee shop is staring at us while she discusses her bag-secured mindset, hangs up and immediately apologizes. "Sorry, that was my business partner. We're launching a drop-shipping empire." Ask her what she's studying in school, and she launches into a 20-minute monologue. "Well, I'm technically a business major, but I'm really focused on building my personal brand. School is just a backup plan, you know? Real entrepreneurs don't need degrees." Tells me about her morning routine, which starts at 4:30 a.m. with meditation and journaling. I read somewhere that successful people wake up early to optimize their mindset. Describes her elaborate skincare routine. That's apparently an investment in her future success. "You have to treat your face like a business asset," she explains with complete seriousness. Order our coffee and she insists on paying separately because she needs the receipt for tax purposes. "Everything is a business expense when you're building an empire," she says. Pulls out a notebook and starts writing down what she ordered for her expense tracking. Try to steer the conversation toward normal topics like movies or music. "I don't really watch movies," she says. "They're not productive use of time. I only listen to podcasts about entrepreneurship and mindset optimization." Mentions that she hasn't read a book for pleasure since high school. Why read fiction when you could be reading about real success stories? Her phone buzzes constantly with notifications that she checks immediately. "Sorry, I have to stay on top of my social media engagement metrics." Shows me her Instagram, which is entirely motivational, quotes over sunset photos. Grinding every day, no days off, success mindset only driven. Every caption is some variation of hustle culture nonsense. "I'm building my follower count to launch my coaching business," she explains. People need someone to teach them about achieving financial freedom? Ask what kind of coaching she plans to do, and her answer is incredibly vague. Just general life optimization and success mindset coaching. Helping people unlock their potential and start their own businesses. Press for more details about her actual business experience. Turns out her dropshipping empire is selling Chinese fidget toys on Amazon. Her crypto portfolio is like $50 in Dogecoin that her dad bought her. The business partner she was talking to is her roommate who sells MLM makeup. But she talks about all of this like she's the next Jeff Bezos. "You have to fake it till you make it," she says. "Manifestation is everything." Pulls out her laptop and starts showing me her business plan spreadsheets. They're color-coded charts about projected income that seem completely fictional. "By next year, I'll be making 6 figures passively," she claims with zero evidence. Asks what my career plans are, and I mention wanting to work in software development. She immediately starts pitching me on joining her team. "Forget working for other people," she says. "That's slave mindset. You should be building your own wealth instead of making someone else rich." Explain that I actually enjoy programming and want to develop my skills. She looks at me like I just told her I want to be a professional failure. That's employee mentality, she says. You need to think bigger. Starts drawing diagrams on napkins about passive income streams. Her understanding of basic economics is absolutely horrifying. Thinks you can just decide to make money appear through positive thinking. The universe provides opportunities to those who are ready to receive them. Order a second coffee, and she pulls out a meal replacement shake. I don't eat regular food during business hours, she explains. Intermittent fasting optimizes brain function for decision making. The shake is some MLM protein powder that costs $40 per container, and she starts trying to sell it to me right there at the table. This could be a great side hustle for you, she says. I can get you the wholesale price. Politely decline, and she seems genuinely confused. Most people would jump at this opportunity, she says. Her phone buzzes again, and she immediately starts typing a response. Sorry, someone's interested in my online course about financial independence. Ask what qualifies her to teach financial independence? She's never had a real job, lives with her parents, and drives their car, but apparently watching YouTube videos about investing makes her an expert. Traditional education doesn't teach you about real wealth building, she claims. Starts explaining her theories about the stock market that sound like conspiracy theories. The system is designed to keep people poor, she says, but I figured out the code. Her code is apparently buying random penny stocks based on TikTok recommendations. Check my phone and realize we've been here for 2 hours. She's been talking nonstop about her business ventures and success mindset. Hasn't asked me a single question about myself besides trying to recruit me. Suggest maybe we should head out since the coffee shop is getting busy. Actually, this is perfect networking time, she says. Let me introduce you to some people. Starts approaching random strangers to pitch her coaching services. Walks up to a guy working on his laptop. Excuse me, are you an entrepreneur? He looks confused and says he's just doing homework. Perfect, she says. I can teach you about building passive income while you study. The guy politely declines and goes back to his work. She interprets this as him being stuck in employee mindset. Tries the same thing with a woman reading a book. Reading for pleasure is nice, but have you considered reading for profit? The woman literally gets up and moves to a different table. Riley seems oblivious to how uncomfortable she's making everyone. Most people aren't ready for the entrepreneur lifestyle, she explains. We finally leave the coffee shop and she immediately starts taking selfies outside. Gotta document the networking session for my story, she says. Asks if I want to grab dinner and continue our business discussion. Realize she thinks this entire date has been some kind of networking opportunity. Actually, I have some things to take care of, I lie. But this was interesting. She hands me her business card, which has motivational quotes on the back. Think about what we discussed, she says. You have potential, but you need the right mindset. Text me when you're ready to start taking your financial future seriously. Drive home wondering what the hell just happened. Call my roommate Derek and try to explain this bizarre experience. Dude, he says, you went on a date with a living LinkedIn post. Realize that's exactly what happened. She treated our entire interaction like a business meeting. Never showed any interest in me as a person, just as a potential customer or a recruit. Spend the evening Googling Sigma female grind set to understand what I encountered. Apparently, it's a thing where women adopt toxic hustle culture as their entire personality. They think being constantly focused on money makes them independent and successful, but really they just become insufferable and impossible to have normal relationships with. Riley texts me later that night with a link to her online course. Special discount for new connections, she says. Invest in yourself. The course is about manifesting wealth through positive thinking. Costs $300 for access to recorded Zoom calls. Block her number before she can try to sell me anything else. Tell Derek about the text and he starts laughing hysterically. She really tried to monetize your date, he says. That's actually impressive. In a completely psychotic way, but still impressive. Realize I dodged a major bullet with this one. Imagine trying to have a relationship with someone who sees everything as a business opportunity. Probably would have tried to charge me rent for staying over at her place, or pitched me MLM products during intimate moments. Hey baby, speaking of climax, have you heard about my cryptocurrency investments? The thought makes me physically ill. Decide to take a break from dating apps for a while. Apparently the modern dating scene includes people who think relationships are networking events. My face when I realize she probably has a spreadsheet tracking her dating ROI that feel when you meet someone who's turned capitalism into their entire personality. Start appreciating normal people who can have conversations without trying to sell something. Maybe being single isn't so bad if the alternative is dating human LinkedIn profiles. At least when I'm alone, I don't have to pretend to be interested in dropshipping schemes. That feel when you realize some people have replaced their personality with business buzzwords.